Streaming friends, if you watch me offline when I'm not live, that's great too. I just got to do my daily YouTube babying. Once again, reminding people, please, if you're watching me on YouTube, leave a comment or something. Let me know that you're out there. Because I think I'm going to stop. Streaming to YouTube seems to be fruitless. I get almost the same number of views, but nobody chats. And I don't know if it's like bots or what. So please let me know if you're watching my streams on YouTube. And on that, I'm live. So I just gotta tell channel copy link. Gotta hop on the old Discord. Hey Darren, how's it going, man? White Jesus. This weekend we're all celebrating the resurrecting powers of White Jesus. I encourage you to join me. Thinking like something like calling it something like Easter or something. I don't know. Something like that. All right. So yeah, I sure hope. Oh, off today. Nice. Oh, do you have the rest of the week off? Dang it. I was going to change the audio settings on my streaming because I realized that my I don't need as much data for audio, and my bitrate is so high it doesn't need to be that high because I'm not doing music or anything like that. I'm just doing voice mono. So no reason to do anything fancy with that. And save those bytes for the video. Save those blips and bloops. All right, so here's what happened yesterday. In case, just like a previously on. Previously on. So, what I was gonna say is I sure hope that oh shoot, do I have the? I do. Hey, so this is I'm getting sidetracked, but it's fine. So yesterday, Cobalt Games helped me out a bunch. You can see here in the chat log, and I don't know if you know this, but with Twitch, Twitch uses IRC for the chat, and so if you know how to connect to it, you can connect to your channel's IRC, your IRC channel for your Twitch stream. And so my plan is to record the history, and then that way I can easily, like when somebody comes back and I can't quite remember what conversation we had or who they were, because honestly it's getting hard for me to translate some people's names on Discord, whatnot. I can find it here and kind of get refreshed really quick. So because I don't want people to think I forgot who they were. I usually remember the conversations, but it's the usernames with that I'm having a hard time with sometimes. Unless you have a name like White Jesus, and then it's really easy to remember. But when it's like Megazar, no offense, Megazar. Actually, Megazar is really easy. That's why I said it. Anyway, so yeah, yesterday, here's what happened. I was working with Cobalt Games, and I was doing all this code to basically recreate collision logic. And then it occurred to me, I was like, wait a minute. If I'm drawing the tile on center, I can make the bounds of the tile as big as I want. And then we can draw the collision layer outside those bounds. And that's exactly what we did here. So this teal color is the collisions for the obstacle tiles. So now we can set some obstacle tiles, like if we want the collidable element of the obstacle tile to be smaller, we can do that. And within the exact size of it, or a little bit on the outside, which is what I was doing yesterday. So anyways, we got that going. And I was like, oh no, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to have something collide with the obstacle, but have the player character keep moving. And I was thinking about it after stream, imagining me programming in my head, basically is what I do. I was like, wait a minute. That's why I'm using a kinematic body for the player, because I am explicitly responsible. As the kinematic body exists, I'm the one who tells it what to do with the collision. And then I was like, oh. So I have to change some of that. The reason why I forgot that is because I put the code in to handle getting hit by a ghost, and that was it, right? Because we were doing a Pac-Man clone. So here's where that all happens, right here, inside the player code. And so I'm probably going to move this out because I want to be able to... Yeah, I need to change some of it, basically. I want to be able to try some different things here. And this tri-direction thing, I also think I need to update. But yeah, so right here, colliding objects, like for instance, if I take this and I just print debug. So in theory, unless I'm a crazy person, and I'm not right about this. Yeah, so Godot has a couple of things with physics that you can do. The main things are rigid body and a kinematic body. I don't know the meanings, and I'm sure this White Jesus, you might actually know more about what the origins of the naming comes from. Rigid body is specifically influenced by the physics of the environment. So if you put a rigid body out in space and there's gravity, it's automatically on its own going to fall down. You can apply forces, to the rigid body, like if you have boosters on a rocket or whatever, you can apply forces to that rigid body, and then it responds to the physics of the environment on its own. So that's how that behaves. Kinematic body, you give it a command, basically move and collide and move and slide are the two that Godot has out of the box. Move and collide, and then it says, okay, and then it just pushes you. You just go in that direction on your physics step. And then it will give you back, if you put it in a variable, if you put the results of that in a variable, it will give you back information about the collision if there happens to be one. Yeah. So, anyways. So, yeah, I'm going to echo out the object name here on the print debug. We're going to put an obstacle in here just to show you that this is working. And we'll start going from here, basically. This is going to be the start of our coding for today. So if I go back to output, of course there's nothing. Oh, here we go. So you know what? I've got print. I've got some sort of print happening somewhere else. Obstacles, player 35 physics process. So that's right here. So yeah, so obstacles. So it's giving me the name of the object right there. So now with that, oh God, there could be any reason why too, Darren. Oh shit. All right, let me put. Oh God. Officially, kinematics is the branch of mechanics that deals with the motion of bodies without a reference to the cause or the force producing it. So it's a literal physics, like the study of physics. In game dev, what they're talking about is moving physics objects without any external forces being involved. So there you go. All right, let me get maybe I did something with the scene. So I'll get this up for you, Darren. I might have done something to the player. I think I did. So this is gonna break all the player animations that we had set up. I hope that's okay. But we always have it. We can restore it if we ever need to. The game. Oh, it's because I haven't committed the game's logic. commits to unbreak game. All right, let me push him out. Let me know if that works, Darren. Okay. Yeah, I just had to get back to like the prefab look just because the player size wasn't right because we're moving towards the 128. And so the player just didn't look right, and I was starting to like tweak it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna trash this because we're gonna. I mean, it's we have to make all these changes anyways. Okay, so yeah, so we're getting that object that we're colliding to, that colliding object, and so the other thing that we get is we get this. So we get the information about the collision, which I believe is stored in, and I have to double check, kinematic body 2D. So if I look here, when we do move and collide, we get a return of, here we go, we get a return of kinematic collision 2D. Contains collision data for kinematic body 2D collisions. When it's used to move and collide, it stops if it detects a collision with another body. If a collision is detected, the kinematic collision 2D object is returned. So it is saying it stops. So this is the thing. Well, son of a biscuit. The other thing that I can do, though, with move and collide, there's move and slide. So, oh no, move and collide. So there is test move, and move and collide you can actually set test, which I am doing presently. I might have to change how I'm doing the collisions altogether for this. And moves the body along a vector. The body will stop if it collides. Is there an option to velocity, infinite inertia is set to true? So there's test only. The body does not move, but would be collision information. Maybe I can't do it this way. God, this sucks. I'm so excited. I'm like, I got it figured out. And here I am. Well, if that's the case, the other thing we were talking about is that I shoot out. There's in the physics steps, I can shoot out a ray cast to a certain distance and see if that works. No! Oh no! I don't want it to stop. That's the problem. It's like that's why I wasn't using the physics to do the movement and collision on the objects. So do I need to do move and slide? And then that means I need to set the resistance of what's going on? All right. Obstacles. Use kinematic. On. Hang on. So I can set use kinematic on the tile map. Now hold on now. So this is my problem. I'll describe my problem. I need to be able to move a body, detect a collision, but not respond to the collision. That's the whole thing. I mean, I can force this. For instance, if I take the resultant collision and I go, so I get the collision 2D information, and then I have this remainder value, and I go, if, see, this is going to cause problems though, I know it. I don't want to have to use Google, but I think I'm going to. Google. So we're going to say Godot move detect collision, but keep moving. You could try using a rigid body set to mode kinematic. I would expect it to behave exactly like a kinematic body, but there's a chance it might be receiving callbacks like rigid body. There's an enemy in my game. I'm currently accepting around starting let's check for collisions with other enemies. And with the player itself without actually physically colliding. It must... Trigger. Have you looked at the collision settings? There is a check for using parent. Use kinematic, friction, mask. Yeah, I just don't know what I would change, you know? Special types of bodies that are meant to be user controlled. They are not affected by physics at all to other types of bodies, such as a character. However, they have two main uses. Simulated motion, when the bodies are moved manually or are either from code or from the animation player. The physics will automatically compute and estimate their linear and angular velocity. This makes them very useful for moving platforms. Kinematic body also has an API for moving objects while performing collision tests. This makes them really useful. Right, okay. Excuse me. Well, yeah, so I figure if I set friction to 0, but then would I have to use move and slide? That's what I was trying to think of, what that was called. So, is that, let's see the player. We'll go to the collision shape. Excuse me, sorry for the nasty noises. I really need more buttons on my mouse so I can have a mute on my mouse. I make all these swallowing noises and stuff too. Gross. Here we go. Obstacles. Transform. Friction. Friction set to 0. Let's set friction to 0, and let's just see what happens. Is that like gonna make it squishy, basically? Whoops. No, I still... Okay. No, it's just gonna stop. So move and slide, I would need to tell it that I'm a top down. Up direction is the up direction used to determine what is a wall, a floor, and a ceiling. If it is set to the default value, everything is considered a wall. This is useful for top-down games. So we would set it to just an empty vector 2. Then what's different about... Let me check my move in... I might overwrite the move in... let's see what we're doing here, because I'm actually doing something kind of funky. So I am doing a test move. And I'm saying if there's a collision. So this is where I need to override this stuff on a per what am I colliding basis. So for instance, if I were to go into the player here and just get rid of all this junk, let me just see what happens if I go move and collide, and we tell it so some of this might be the code that I have. I'm pretty, but I mean, it does specifically say that it's going to stop the. I have a feeling though, yeah, it's going to have to be move and slide. So and then I handle the collisions from there, but it doesn't. It looks like it doesn't return any collision information on a move and slide, and we do need to have the information of a collision. Yeah, it says if the other body, so it'll be affected by the motions of those other bodies if I use move and slide. Other physics bodies. So that's not going to be what we need. We need to use move and collide, and we'll use last direction. And I'm not going to use delta right now just because I just want to test this. So we're going to go and see what happens. We should... Oops, I got a rogue S going on there. Let's just see. If so it does stop me. Well, shit. Son of a biscuit. This is why I think I still might have to... I still might have to use parent. If true, the tile map's collision shape will be added to the collision shape of the parent. The parent has to be a collision object 2D. So that's not going to do what we want. If true, tile map collisions will be handled as a kinematic body. If false, collisions will be handled as a static body. Bounce. And if we change the layer, let's just try that. This sucks. This is going to be a boring stream. With Raycast 2D, you can get a collider. So that's what I was thinking. That's where I was on this yesterday, where I was thinking I would have to draw a ray out from the player. So if I change the masking attributes of the obstacle of the tile map so that we don't actually collide like that, and then I can try cast a ray. Is that what I want? See, I gotta read up on the masking now too. Ugh. Okay, so we passed through that. Did we spit out anything about a collision? So let's go var collision equals move and collide, and if collision, then we print debug, and we print some collision information. So So it's only getting information about the collision once it hits the wall. So it's not detecting that. Yeah, color for, that's where I was yesterday, where I was like, I'm going to have to cast array. Because I couldn't think of any other way to make this behavior that I'm describing happen. I think you're right. Line from the origin to its destination position. Used to query a 2D space in order to find the closest object along the path of the ray. Raycast can ignore some objects by adding them to the exception list via add exception. By setting proper filter with collision layers, or by filtering object types with type masks. Okay. Raycast 2D can be configured to report collisions with area 2Ds and or physics body 2Ds. And I believe that tile maps collisions are under physics body 2Ds. So let me just double check that. Oh, it's going to be a lot of code again. So let me ask you this, Colorfur, is the relativity of the raycast, if I set position 0, is that based off of the center point of the object that's doing the test, or is that in game space? So is it coming off, like with this, if I do it from the player body, would it be coming off the center point of the player, regardless of where it was in the game space? So let's see. So I'm just gonna, yeah, let's just try. So we're gonna do var raycast 2D. Now, is this something I can just ray? Let's see how they declare get world 2D space. Okay, and in 3D. Raycast query. So they have to get the space state, intersect ray. Performing a 2D raycast query, the method physics 2D intersect array. So it's only a return value. This says it's going to return a dictionary. Relative to the raycast position. But is the raycast position relative to something? Like, is 0, 0... that's what I'm wondering. Is 0, 0 up here? Or if I cast the ray inside the player object, is it here? That's my question. Is this right? It definitely doesn't like that. Do I need to instantiate? let me just let's just run this and see if it bombs out. It didn't bomb out. Okay, so we've got our raycast, and maybe we'll put this on the up at the top here. I don't know yet. Raycast 2. See, raycast 2 is a node that you can parent to your player. Parent. So it would be above the what does it look like when we have it here? And what happens if we put it on the... So it's definitely, even if I put it as a child, so I would need to assign the... okay, okay. Let me delete that. Go to player. Okay, so it can be, let me save that, go back here. Okay, so it can be relative to our friend here. And if we do our north, south, and so forth, so like if we're just pointing at in front of us like that, we're coming off that way, exclude, enabled. Let's call this ray right. And get collider returns the first object that the ray intersects or null. So we'll let's do that. I'm going to do this on process here, and we're just going to go ray right. Get collider. Var equals ray right. I'm doing an awful job of naming variables and stuff right now. I'm just trying to see what we get with this. Print okay. And you know what? Let's make it a little bit bigger than 32, just so it's on the. No, it'll still detect it. Okay, so because we're gonna hit those bounds. Now I need to make it slightly larger, so we'll make it 64, just for fun. And let's see what happens here. Did we get anything? We did. Okay, so let me get rid of this debug. Shoot. Well, crap. I mean, if I end up doing this, I've got to... there's the null, and then there's the tile map. The question is, what tile map is it? So let's get the object name. Oh, I gotta do an if. If, and then we'll indent and do debug. If this works, I've got a lot of rewriting to do. Let's go back. Maze. Stop. So it never sees. Oh, you know what? I didn't save the extension of our. And you know what? Let me turn on for the debug. We're gonna do visible collision space. And whoa, what happened? There we go. Stop. Let's check the. Still nothing. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll put this on the same layer as everything else. Save. Try again. Okay, so we obstacles. Okay, so crap. Well, this sucks. So if I end up having to use the raise so that I can continue to move the player, and then I've got to write all kinds of logic to handle stopping the movement and stuff based off of the ray detecting collisions. What sucks about this is that I've got to do angles like this. I've got to do 4 of them going out to all edges of the square. And the reason why I need to do that is because of this scenario here. Where if I happen to be drawing, I mean, it should still see it if it's right in the center, but if I happen to be drawing these collisions just on the straight Cartesian axis and not the angles, then there's a chance that I might not see this guy's bounding area. And it would be better if I was doing the corners of the player so that the chances of me detecting that are higher. And then also if the bounds of a collision area are inside this square here, because these would be coming out at angles, they would always detect it right when it should have happened anywhere. There's still area 2D. So I was reading about that too. Area 2D defines a region of 2D space. In this space, you can detect collision object 2D nodes overlapping, entering, and exiting. Areas also allow for overriding local physics properties. So I presume that I would change my player to be a kinematic body to an area 2D. And then I would move the area 2D body across the space and just look at the collisions that it's detecting. which I'm totally fine doing. Yeah, it would be, I would just change it from a overlap detection. Perhaps the most common use of Area 2D nodes is for contact and overlap detection. When you need to know that two objects have touched but you don't need physical collision, you can use an area to notify you of the contact. Color first. So this is what I was thinking about. This is I wanted to be able to. Oh shit, hang on, I think I got it. Because I want the Area 2D side to be the obstacles. Right? So if I do this, so we know if I select parent, use parent right here, it says on its own, it says, let's hover over it. It uses a collision 2D object. It needs to have a parent as a collision 2D as the object. So if I do collision shape 2D, and I make obstacles a child of that, is it collision shape 2D? Use parent. Collision object 2D. Collision object 2D. So area 2D. Okay, so if we set the obstacles like this, delete that. What are we complaining about still? This node has no shapes, so it cannot collide with other objects. Consider adding. I have. Collision object to be pickable. Collision. How do I make the? Yeah, so how do I make it so that, because we're saying on obstacles, we're saying if true, the tile map's collision shape will be added to the collision shape of the parent. The parent has to be collision object 2D, which technically area 2D is. As we just read, it says right here, area 2D extends collision object 2D. So it also provides properties inherited from that class. So this should work. Consider adding, well, fine. We'll add that as the child. Even though it's really, it won't let me. It has to be one of these. The node has no shape. Bro, I'm telling you. Let me uncheck and recheck it. Uncheck, recheck. What a boring stream. What a boring stream for everybody. Obstacles 9. What is it complaining about? Let me reload the default scene here because I think there might be something going on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there was some weird bug. Well, I'm calling it obstacles. So in this case, I have this tile map, and in this tile map, let me load up the actual tiles. Here's the tiles. We're painting them on center, and then we have collision body that goes beyond the bounds of the tile. And so you can imagine that there's like a little bit of a bound on the outside of this tile. What I want to have happen is to have the behavior that I can move the player object and detect the collision, but then decide if I'm going to continue to move the player or not. Or have some other thing happen. collision shape 2D. So maybe I need to add collision shape 2D here. Then put the obstacles under that. Use parent needs collision object 2D to give shapes to. Please use an area 2D, static body 2D, rigid body 2D, or kinematic body 2D. So it's literally telling me to do what I'm trying to do. And now I'm not getting the problem. So there was something wrong with the scene. I had to close and reopen it. Now it's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's... So in theory, does that allow us to pass through the obstacles, and then we can simply, on the obstacle side, give signals and behavior? Let's find out. Let's find out. Does the idea of an area 2D apply on both ends? So that the thing that's doing collision... so we're going to get rid of this ray stuff. We're going to have to do a pass. And let's see what happens. So we passed right through it. Let's double check that. So we're going to save the player. Let's double check that we're on the same collision. Okay, so yeah, the collision stuff. Yeah, we're on the same. We're on the same. Okay, so area 2D. I hope you guys are keeping up with me. I know I'm not saying everything that I'm thinking right now, but I think you guys are following along. So there's methods, signals, area entered, emitted when another area enters. So let's just, on our area 2D, we're just gonna add a script here, just for fun. We're gonna call this script delete me, and we're gonna say, oops, we accidentally added a finite state machine. That's fine. Ready. And we're going to connect a signal. And, oh gosh, let me see if I can remember this off the top of my head. I can't. Let's go up to, we've got some code that can do that. I knew I'm doing it on the game level. Connect. It is connect. Okay. So connect. So we're doing our self. We're going to connect area entered on self to a function called area entered. And we'll do a breakpoint on that function and see if we hit it. Cross your fingers, boys. We'll just manually type in a breakpoint. Okay. See what happens. Son of a bitch! All right. Hang on. So, maybe I need to append self. And maybe I went a little too fast on my... No? Self. Let's try again. Nope. Area exited. Area shape entered. Emitted when another area enters, reporting which shapes overlap. Does it have to be two area 2Ds interacting? Area shape entered. So let's do that. And we'll do area 2D, area ID. No, this isn't going to be it. Do I need to register on area shape, self shape? And just to be sure, I'll manually slap a breakpoint in there. Nothing. Wait, is there like an on? See, what's all this gravity nonsense that it's talking about? Not boring, not bored. See, I don't think we need any of this. emitted when another area enters. Oh, it might have worked. I see my problem. Because I forgot to add, I've had this happen before. If you're doing signals and you forget to add the variables that it uses, it won't fire properly when you connect to it. Son of a biscuit. Let's get rid of self. Well, okay, let's add an area on the player. Can I do this? Will it carry up? No. So I'm going to duplicate. This might be weird what I'm doing here. But why isn't the player colliding with, it's because it's an area 2D now. Okay, so the player's just never going to collide with that. So what I've done here is I basically cloned the collision shape, and I've added an area 2D inside the kinematic body as well that has an area 2D that has the same collision shape. And so I'm just going to see if that causes us to fire this trigger here, this signal. I'm pretty sure I'm registering it right. Nothing. I mean, I could be getting that wrong. So let's check our connection. This is the one thing I don't like about the signals in Godot is that it's a little cumbersome to detect. It's on the object. So let me just get the API here and we'll go to object. Well, let me just search object. Objects. So we go, you gotta be serious, right? It's down there. Here we go. So connect. There we go. Disconnected. Is connected. Here we go. So what we'll do is we'll just print out our is connected and then a string for the signal. Oh, hang on. I didn't rename that. So I might have got it right this whole time and not known it. Oh! What's that? What's the with the Antonio Banderas? The like. That's how I feel right now. All right. Yeah. Brazil goal. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so now the question is, here's the big question. I'm going to delete this area 2D. Is my kinematic body collision shape enough? And it should be, because it's technically, it's using the same collision. I think it's enough. Let's just find out. This is great because now the collision stuff is happening on the object side, which is where it should be happening in the first place. Like, that was another thing where I'm like, it's crazy to me that I'm going to be doing this on the player side when really it's the player interacting with the object. So why isn't it happening on the object side? Okay, so we do need that on the player, on it. I'm going to keep the kinematic 2D body. And the reason why is because I want to be able to have that colliding thing, especially when I hit the walls of the maze. Okay. Man, that was brute force. I was just like, read the docs. Look at the chat. Type some code. Try again. Smack. Oh, we did it. Well, hang on. I got to clip that. How do I do that? Let me go over to... where do I go here? It's probably too late. Okay, the last 30 seconds. I might be able to edit the clip too later on. So that was bad. That was badass. I like that. Good job, guys. We did it. That was a flawless victory. Not quite. Well, that's what I need to have, like a switchboard. Like I'll have flawless victory for when I write a piece of code without ever running it and it works the first time. That'll be the whole flawless victory when it's like a big chunk of code. Okay, so now we get that information about the area. So that gives us something. That gives us something. Oh, I'm feeling really good about that. Okay, so area 2D, and then so we get we get an area 2D back. So we get ourselves back technically on this event occurring. I don't ever see any Godot tutorials where they talk about connecting signals to themselves, but I do it all the time because most of the time it's not that and I'm wondering, like, hang on a second. Let me just check something here. If I do function area entered, is this a function? So it's a signal, but can I do this? Can I go area entered like this, and it would be area? And I'm going to get rid of I'm going to just do a pass on here. Get rid of the breakpoint, and we'll do a breakpoint here. See, I'm wondering if I can just... instead of having to connect a signal, because it makes sense that signals will be for outside of the... Can I actually just treat it like a function? So let's see. Okay, so we didn't stop. Let me check the breakpoint again, just to make sure I didn't break anything. Did I save the player again? Yes, I did. Okay, so... okay, so I can't do this. I was kind of hoping I could, because then I wouldn't have to do this. Let me just make sure. Maybe the breakpoint in code is not hitting. No. Wait a minute. Something's weird. Something's weird. Because we didn't break that time. Hold on now. I think I'm onto something. I might have just broke VS Code and I'll have to reopen it. Sometimes the break signals. No. Yeah, you know what? There's something here. Let's get rid of... I mean, we know... I'm going to look into this, but this is how I do it for now. But I believe that if we treat these signals as function calls, then I should be able to override them. Like any of these I could override and do something with before they, you know. Okay, so let's just so area 2D, that gives us collision mask layer bit. So this, okay. So these will be important because this is gonna the thing about doing it this way is that this is going to fire on obstacles regardless of what's passing over it. So if an enemy goes over the area, this will fire as well, which is great because we need to be able to have puzzle elements where when the enemy like goes on a thing, something can happen, right? So that's good. Okay. So is there a way I can get... Let's see what these methods return. Returns a list of intersecting area 2Ds. For performance... I'm going to go get a drink. I'm drying up. I'm getting cotton mouth. All right. Okay. Let's see. For performance reasons, collisions are all processed at the same time. This is modified once during the physics steps, not immediately after objects are moved. Okay, so that's redundant because and since I'm using a kinematic body that I'm moving around, we're not worried about all this gravity nonsense because we're not using a rigid body. So none of this stuff will apply to it anyways, all this gravity stuff. And I wonder if it's more performant, although I'm sure it really doesn't matter, if I just turn this stuff off. You know. But an area 2D isn't giving me much, even though it occurs. Like, how do I get the body that is overlapping? There's this overlaps body. Here we go. Get overlapping bodies. Returns a list of intercepting physics body 2Ds. For performance reasons, this list is modified once during the physics steps, not immediately after the objects are moved. Get overlapping bodies. So it's recommending using signals in the first place. Overlaps body, and then you choose a node. Okay. If true, the given physics body overlaps the area 2D. Note, the result of this test is not immediate after moving objects. For performance, list of overlaps is updated once per frame and before the physics step. Consider using signals instead. The body argument can either be a physics body 2D or a tile map instance. While tile maps are not physics bodies themselves, am I still going to... So here's where I'm starting to think. Because of how little information the Area 2D actually gives me about the colliding body, unless I start to do other stuff, I might have to... This overlaps body would work good on the player side of the Area 2D. Because on the player side, I'd be able to use overlaps body, test against the obstacles. Physics body 2D. Inherited by a kinematic. So I can test against the player. Overlaps body. Okay, hang on. So let's try function if true, the given returns. Well, we're just going to do this on, here's what I'm going to do. Function process. So on the delta, I'm just going to run this on myself. Overlaps body. And we're going to say player overlap equals overlaps body. And then we need to go up to the root, get node, and we'll go root, and it's going to be our level editor setup. So root stage, let's see, stage maze player. Okay. Let me see if we get a break on this. So we're going to go if, and it's a Boolean, so I should be able to just go like this, and then we'll do breakpoint. Okay, so in theory, once the player overlaps, all right, Colorful, have a good night. Okay, so we do get it. So we can basically ask, thanks for being there, man. I couldn't have done it without you. These past 2 streams have been just talking to people and working this stuff out. My Twitch name is extremely misleading. I think I'm going to change it. I don't know. Okay. But you can see how far we sank. Look at how much further into the collision we're at, which is actually more accurate because our player body let me mess around with this. Here's what we'll do. We'll do 31 by 31 because we have that padding on our the safe margin is 1, so that's why I'm doing 31 and not 32. So our area 2D bounds are larger now. And so we should get a much more accurate breakpoint as far as where we would expect to have a quote-unquote collision occur. Oh, except that now... shit. I know why this is happening, but I don't like it. So the reason why we're not moving anymore is because the kinematic body must be smart enough to see this other collision shape, and it's using it as well to detect collisions. So I'm guessing if I switch it back like I just did and run again, we'll keep moving. Yeah. Yeah. So if you'll notice, our collision shape is a little bit on the inside. It's a square inside the player. I mean, the other thing I could do is just make a base node and split out the kinematic body and the area 2D as its own thing. And the move code on the kinematic body will be separate from the area. There'll be children next to each other, and siblings. That's the word I'm looking for. There'll be siblings next to each other, and not children. See, now I just have to figure out what is the best way for me to handle all this. I think things happening relative to. I think the best way of thinking about these events occurring is that things happen to the obstacles. Because I need the obstacles to be alive sans the player. And so much as maybe we have something where you can have a puzzle that slides some element on the maze, like another maze object, over the surface of the what we're calling the obstacles, which is the ground, basically. And maybe we should just call it the ground, but we already have one that's called the ground. It's a whole separate thing. So ground obstacles, let's say. So we need this to be happening where we're doing this. And so now we know that area 2D is required. We're going to need this because we need to take the normal collision information and transform it into an area 2D so that it can be acted upon, detected but not acted upon in the physics sense. So we can specifically ask if it overlaps a specific. We can ask it if it overlaps a specific body, but we can also say get overlapping bodies, which returns a list of for performance reasons. Collisions are all processed at the same time. This list modifies once during the physics step, but this one here says the result of this test is not immediately after moving objects. For performance reasons, the list of overlaps is updated once per frame and before the physics step. Let's just run. Let's just do this. Var overlaps. And we're just going to do that. We're going to get overlapping bodies. We don't have to do anything extra. And we're going to say it's an array, so we can do if overlaps. I'm presuming that this is going to be empty. Print debug. Oops. Okay. And let's just see. We're gonna get rid of the breakpoint, make it pass. Let's try this again. So you guys see what I'm like thinking? Okay, stop running. So it sees itself. And then it sees the kinematic 2D body. That's interesting. No, this is a different thing. Hang on a second. Hold on now. So for overlap in overlaps, then we're going to print debug overlap. And we're going to say like that. And we're going to do overlap name. I think what it's seeing is the maze tiles. The overlaps right now that are occurring possibly are the maze. But I don't have an area 2D on the maze. I wonder what that is. I'm just curious. I wonder what it's going to tell me. Okay. It is the maze. Well, if that's the case, then why do I have to have the area 2D on the kinematic body? Because why is it detecting an overlap of a collidable element that is not Let me go back and there's something I'm not quite understanding. Oh, it can be a physics body 2D or a tile map instance. Okay. So let's see if there's a difference in. So what I'm going to do here is if overlap name equals player, then we're going to break. And I'm curious which fires first. I know that. Okay, so we're getting a break right there. And I believe. So we're going out beyond our corners. See, it keeps suggesting. I'm sorry for I'm circling right now, but the reason why is because it keeps talking about that you want to use signals. Okay, what other signals do we have? Maybe there's area entered, emitted when another area enters. Area shape entered. Emitted when another area enters, reporting which shapes overlapped. Emitted when another area exits and reports which shapes were overlapping. Emitted when a physics body enters. So these signals, like body entered, I'd have to know the name of it. So I'll need to body shape entered, emitted when the physical body enters, reporting which shapes overlapped. Area shape entered, area shape exited. Emitted when another area exits. Area entered. Let's check this out. Let's just go. But this is I'm just sort of talking this out because what's confusing to me is that all right. I think I get it. So area entered is going to give me the area 2D that entered the area. So in this case, let me just. So if I think about it as it's going to give me this when I go over it, when a shape enters. Can I find out what I am from here? So I'm just going to, let's print debug. I'm sorry that I'm not moving forward right now, but I really want to understand this better because I do want this stuff to happen. Like it just makes the most sense that these things would happen on the subject itself. Let's say on the thing, these things would happen on the thing that it's happening to, so that I'm not having to like pass things off. Pring debug. No, we want to print debug. All right, let's run this again. Shift F5. Okay, so what did we get? Area ID. So we got an entered, and it's just giving us. So what happens if I do? Can I do get parent? Get parent. Is it on the node 2D? Let's see. Or on the node. Get parent. Yes. Okay, so let's print on the returned area that we're getting when area is entered. We're going to get the parent. And then if this works, I'm just going to have it spit out, get the parent name. And it should be kinematic 2D body or player. I'm not sure which one it's going to give. Player. Okay. So let me explain what's happening here in case it's not clear. Area entered is a signal. A signal in Godot is when something happens. So you can register for signals from an object that can emit the signal, or you can be outside of that object somewhere else, like in the game loop, like the, whatever you want to call that, or down somewhere else. You can just say, hey, I'm registering to listen to this signal. And then you're not seeing it being emitted in code here because it's happening by the object. It's not happening in my code, but the object's doing it. But you can't emit your own signals. Anyways, and with that, when we register for that signal, we're getting an area 2D back. We're getting the area 2D of the area 2D that has entered the space of this area 2D, which happens to be what we're calling obstacles. So that's that. That's this variable here after it gets called, right? So in this case, we're now in here in the space of this tree. And I'm asking it to get the parent, which is up here, and I'm asking it its name. Since we're an instance of this scene, which would be called prefab, I believe, in Unity, we get the name player. And so I'm saying get parent, and I'm asking it its object, the name of the object, which is the name that it has. Either you assign it, or in this case in the GUI in the scene, I've put it there. But so now what I'm wondering is, so like, should I do this? Should I call this something like player? Because then I don't have to traverse some tree, and I can just get the name of the area. So in this case, it's going to be area 2D, but if I rename this to like poop, let's just try it. We'll rename it to poop, save it, save this, go back, and we'll run it again, right? Now in theory, in our debug, we're going to see poop. Let's just see. Yes, so we have poop in down here. So what kind of problem is that? I'm doing this weird thing here. I kind of don't like this. I'll be honest. I don't like it. Let's look at our enemies. So let's go to scenes, and we'll just choose enemy. So And there's a lot here we can ignore. So in this case, I would need to add the same kind of thing. It's a kinematic 2D body. I'm causing its movement. We want it to be kinematic 2D body because we want it to hit the walls. When we move, we want to handle its collisions. And if I did it on the player side, I didn't have to be doing something weird where I send a signal out. So relative to the, here's what I'm trying to get at. Is like, what is a good way to, with what it's giving me, because it's not giving me, it's not giving me the object that it's running into. So is there... So here's what I'm going to try. I just want to see what it means by parent. So in this case, I'm going to name this back to area 2D just so we don't have poop there and I forget. But if I were to... here's what I'll do. I'll add a node. We'll put area 2D in there like this. Okay? And we're going to say, we're going to call the node cheese. And so let's see what get parent gives us, because I'm hoping that it gives us player and not cheese. So let me go back to our old code here. So we're going to get parent and get the name of the parent. Nothing. Say what? Is it not seeing it now because it's are we not getting detected as... So now we're not hitting it at all. So for we'll go back. Well, that's interesting. But I know if I get rid of this, it gets mad. Collision. Can I carry the... No. That is interesting. I should put this over here so it's over the sprite. That is interesting. There we go. So there's our... I got lucky that this even worked. Probably area has an object property reference. That's why I'm a little confused by it. So if we go back, maybe, you know what? So we're doing area 2D, but we also inherit collision object 2D. Collision object 2D is the base class for 2D physics objects that can hold any number of 2D collision shape 2Ds. Each shape must be assigned to a shape owner. The collision 2D may have any number, blah, 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 blah. Signals. Input event. Emitted when an input event occurs requires input pickable to be true, and at least one collision layer bit. So this is how we can detect when you're hovering over something. Mouse entered, mouse exited. Okay, I don't care about that. Get shape owners. Returns an array of owner ID identifiers. You can use these IDs in other methods that take owner ID as an argument. Get shape owners. Get RID. Get RID. Returns the object's RID. Resource unique ID. So if I go back, it's got to be something in collision object 2D. Transform 2D. Get shape owner returns the parent object of the given shape owner. And shape 2D. Collision object 2D is the base class for 2D physics. It can hold any number of 2D collision shape 2Ds. Each shape must be assigned to a shape owner. So the shape 2D in this case is so how can you have something called shape owner get owner, but you have to pass it the owner ID? At that point, you already know it. Shape owner get owner. Owner ID. Returns the parent objects of the given shape owner. Shape find owner. Get shape owners. Cobalt, I was just at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about how helpful you were yesterday. So we're in the weeds right now. Did it show me there? I feel like I left you open on my browser, so that's good. Yeah, so we figured out how to get collisions with an area without actually stopping our physics step. So the thing that we're trying to do is how to best handle some things. So basically, what we've done is we've encapsulated obstacles into this area 2D, which is a physics property. It's a physics object, and what we're doing is we're sending up to it the collision shapes that come from the obstacles that we've planted on the tile map. Area 2D then allows us to have respond to shapes entering and exiting its space. So then on the player side, we've added an area 2D as well with the collision shape. And now we can detect when it comes over the ground obstacles. the thing that I'm trying to figure out how best to handle is, now that we can do this, the question becomes, okay, so it's returning something called area 2D. It's giving me the area 2D of the colliding or the overlapping body, right? And so that may exist anywhere within the object that collided with it. So I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to get the like parent object, which is what I'm going to probably be talking to when that happens. I suppose it needs to happen on both ends as well. So like if I get the area 2D here, I can get the parent and then the name of it, and that will travel up the tree. So in this case, if the player is overlapping the what we're calling the obstacle, then I can get the instance name of the player right here. So I can get, you know, player as the name. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm running into the what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, yeah, I mean, so what I could do is on the area 2D side, so this name here I could specify to be a certain, like an indication of the type of thing. Like in this case, this is always going to be the player. So I could just name this player, and then I can just go like this and get the name, right? And now when this happens, you'll see I can get player. So that's one way to do it. The other thing I could do is make area 2D, make a custom, make basically make an inheritance of area 2D and make my own custom one that allows me to set some special value that I check between them. So that, like, if I'm wanting to assign a type to something, for instance, if I have moving objects that can overlap here, what we're calling the obstacle, and so that like the player can push something and then that can land on something, or the enemy is on it and it's a specific enemy type and that triggers something or whatever. I need to easily tell the obstacle what it is so that it can know how to respond, like a consistent way. Well, the player has an area 2D component and the obstacle has an area 2D. Yes, that's correct. So area 2Ds let me know when they overlap. And the example they give in the Godot documentation is like, say you're making a Mario 2 Galaxy, like a Mario Galaxy game, and you want a collision shape for a planet, and you want the gravity of that planet to start to affect the player when the player starts to get to a certain closeness. So you have two area 2Ds, and when their bounds overlap, that's when you can start to apply some more physics, like forces or something like that, basically. Yes. That is correct. It is. I'm just trying to, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, what is a good way? So this will return the area shape. Area shape entered, emitted when another area enters, reporting which shapes overlap. So this sounds like it. If we do area shape entered, emitted when another shape owner, get owner, shape find owner shape returns the parent object of the owner of the shape. Man, that's a mouthful. Let me let's experiment with that. So we're gonna area shape entered, and we'll create we gotta get rid of a bunch of this. Let's just make sure we hit this. Let's run. Okay. So that's behaving right. Area shape. So emitted when another area enters, reporting which shapes overlap. Area 2D, self shape, area shape. So if I do this code here, and we go print debug, and then we do area shape. Let's see what happens. Player. Tile map. Yeah, I'm just grabbing the one because this is it right here, the integer. So there's no reason why I have to make it conform to that word necessarily. But it looks like I'm getting. Let me get rid of this. So area entered is the first thing that happens. Find owner. Tile map. Self shape. So let's try self shape. Tile map. All right, let's assign this to like you're saying, but what we're gonna do is put it in the object var shape equals that, and then we'll do shape dot name. Who are you? So what's self shape? Obstacles. Okay, area shape then. What's that get us? Obstacles. Shape owner, get owner. And that's from this right here. Object. Area shape. Area ID. Shape entered. Area ID. Collision 2D body. So shape owner, get owner, these are nested. Returns the parent object of the given shape owner. Area shape, self shape. And then, but we're nesting that with shape find owner, which is returns the owner ID of the given shape. So that's why, okay, so the shape index. So are these two different? Let's print these two out then. So we'll do, are these two different IDs? Well, no, shape owner get owner is very specific. It's going to return. We're not doing plural. We're not doing get owners. Shape owner get owner specifically returns an object. But I want to see if the IDs of area shape and self shape are different. So let's just see what happens when we collide. They're both 0. So I think the problem is, oh, okay, I get it. I get what the problem is. We need to run this not on ourselves, because right now I'm running it on ourselves. We need to run this on area 2D, the one that we're getting from the shape that has entered the space, not ourselves, because this, we're trying to get collision shape 2D. There we go. Okay, so why are we getting collision shape 2D? Oh, so it's just getting the shape, so we don't care about that. Get shape owner. So that's just the shape information. So this is we're going down instead of up. So because area 2D is the thing that is detecting the spaces, the things overlapping, what I'm going to do, the way that I'm going to do this then, is that area 2D will be the thing that holds the information about the things that I want to know. So for instance, if we have let's say, now I really wish that we could do kinematic movement on area 2D, because if we could do that, then if we could do that, then I could move the player script here, and that would be really nice. I'd like to be able to do that, because maybe the two overlapping elements, the state matters. The state of one of them matters, right? Maybe the type matters. I'm using these words as verbs, so like type water or type fire. And if the state of the player is frozen or like wet, and then you go over type fire, no, you need it on both sides, Cobalt. The area 2D, it's detecting both when two area 2Ds overlap. So it's just checking for overlaps. So you have to have them on both. Yeah. So what I'm talking about though is, where do I store the data, of the object type and stuff like that? And since it's only when we have this shape, when we have the area entered is the one I'm thinking that I'm going to end up using. We don't care about the shape. So the shape is the collision draw, the draw of the collision area. So we don't give a crap about that, unless we were wanting to check inside it for something else as well. Well, right, because that's how the signal works. It just gives me the area 2D. So normally, so what I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking I would do. Let me create let's create just a base node, and then we're going to make this the parent. But this is going to break a bunch of stuff. But here's how I'm thinking I'd like to do it. let's see. How do I make you a parent? Oh, make scene root. There we go. So then we move this area 2D outside of the kinematic body. So it would be like this. So this is the area 2D. Let me rename it. So the structure would look like this. Except that it wouldn't carry the area with it. We'd start moving the kinematic body and it wouldn't come along. Right. It won't give you the root. I can call it by using get parent. I'm just worried that I might end up not having that structure for everything. But you know what? I'm just going to trust myself. I'm kind of making this problem up, but it's because I want like crazily enough, I just know how programming works and you forget. And so I want it to always work. But yeah, so I can do it like this where I go print. So if we print out debug and we go, yeah, well, and I just want to, I know because I'm like 40 that my brain is just not a young lad. And so I'm just going to forget. So I just need it to work in a way where if I reference other code that does it and I just plop that in, that it'll work for that too. So if I use get parent and then I print out the name of that. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm going up the tree. So we go, it starts from here and we go up to this one and we get the name of it, which is kinematic body 2D. But in this case, this is a scene instance, an instance of that kinematic 2D body called player. So it'll get the name player instead. And so if I do this, and people have seen me do this who are still watching, now we get player in our debug when we print the result here. So that, I mean, that'll do it. And then so long as, so long as the parent that has the properties that I need, it has a state that I can check and stuff like that, that should work. Like in this case, the way that I've got my state machine set up is player. Oh, the player has no state machine. That's right. I'm not using any states on the player just yet. I have some on the ghosts, but not on the player. But the ghosts are a thing of the past. We're not even using those anymore. Get rid of that. We don't even need process at that point. Okay. Well, man, how long has the stream been? 2 hours. I gotta stop. Dang it. Okay, well, we're getting the overlaps. We're getting the player is entering the shape. It's happening, or the player's entering the obstacle. The response to that is happening on the obstacle side. That's ideal. It's happening on this area 2D. So I'll connect the signal on obstacles, right? So basically, let's do that right now before we end the stream. So if I take this connect here and I go to obstacles and we go on ready, which is when the object is instantiated. It's not quite where it's instantiated. It's a little bit after that. On ready, connect, and we're going to get the parent. So actually, I could just do get parent connect. So we're connecting. This function will fire when that signal is emitted, and we're going to say area, and then we'll do the same thing where we'll print debug, and then we'll do area dot get parents name, and then now we can go over here and I can officially get rid of this most likely, so long as this fires. set a break on it. And so in theory, if this signal is set up properly, then it'll fire, and we'll get it right there. So let's just see real quick if that happens. Yes, and then player. Okay, so perfect. Now I can get rid of this script because we don't need it anymore. Detach, and let me delete that right now. There it is. Delete. Oh, it's because I haven't saved. Delete. Okay, so awesome. So yeah, now we can, inside of our obstacles class, we can detect when anything enters its space, so long as that object has an area 2D assigned to it. So 2 hours to make that happen, but I learned a lot, and it's stuff that is going to really help me in the future. It's basic game stuff too. Cobalt, thank you so much. Colorful is gone, but he was really helpful, so I really appreciate that. Almost done with the game now. Now comes the fun part, right? Because now I can start what I was talking about. Now I can start adding attributes, let's say. Attributes, types. We can add like behaviors. And then we can start to have puzzle elements and just start to see how they all kind of interact with each other. And I know I can do it now. I know I can do it because now I can do this on other things. So maze objects. So like I can, we can create a different maze object. I already have a class for anything that can move around on the surface of the maze. So yeah, feeling good about it. So tomorrow, I really want to do it right now though, but I can't. So tomorrow we'll do a teleport pad where when you get on top of this one here, we transport you somewhere else. Cause then we can do cool stuff, man. Cause we could do half mazes where we could do mazes within mazes. We could do all kinds of things, man. This is going to be cool. Cause we could have like a maze that's got a wall all the way down the middle like this. And then the only way you can get to the other side is by teleporting to it. Right. Can you see where I'm going with this? Why this might be fun for like Pac-Man controls and behavior, but with like a puzzle aspect to it. Yeah, you could do like the asteroid style teleport thing, but with specific maze pads and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot that you can like. There's a lot of design ideas there that can. I think with a couple of simple sets of rules, like you could have some really cool puzzles, and it'll have a little bit of twitchiness added to it. I've been talking to Darren about it. We've been talking about it, and we realized that if there was a continuous thread of ghosts like there is in Pac-Man, and you add the puzzle aspects to it, it might be too much. But if you take it where it's more in the player's control when those parts happen, so that you're like unleashing the hounds, like with the ghosts idea, where you're like triggering it to happen or things like that. I actually don't know, Darren. So you saw like how crazy it got when we were doing the like Pac-Man clone side of this, and so we can definitely do something with the graphics that's really good. Darren's doing the graphics, so but we've talked a lot about that. A lot of this has been planning, but man, this is going to be like idea juice once this is all going. Yeah, that's Darren right there. He's Tolomite. I'm still messing around with making tile set objects to look good. But yeah, so the way we're doing that, the way that we've talked about it is we're not doing pixel art. So these walls are for prototyping. You're never going to see these. They'll never render in the actual game. What's going to be important? What's going to tell the player what's going to tell the player like what's important is the ground tiles. That'll just delineate where the spaces are that the player can move. The walls will be more dynamic in their look. They'll be based on the theme of the stage, let's say. Yeah, and but it's idea juice. Like these basic elements and having them work together. I think that we're gonna have a lot of really good puzzle ideas. And the most, I hope what happens is we get the code down, the code's working great, and then it's just me making puzzles on the streams for a while. And like I'd love to get people's ideas about stuff and kind of come up with that. I would like to make it possible to edit puzzles within the game itself. So that's something that I'm probably going to end up doing too. And then, oh yeah, this is great. Oh, hey, should we raid somebody? Let me see if I can find somebody for us to raid. Twitch.tv. Ooh, blazing fast right now. No. Mute. Let's see. Game development. Oh, that's me. How about wait a minute. People searching for game development also watch I develop things. There's a lot of guys doing web games. I'd like to get somebody who's doing something on his own. It's got to do the stupid. So he's got 30 followers. Using Unreal Engine 3D modeling, 2D digital art. Okay, this looks good. Let's just see. Hang on. Okay. This looks good to me. You guys ready? Is it... let me get the name. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, let's end the stream, the actual stream.